What's going on, guys? I'm Zach from the Lumios Post, where we talk about all things Pokemon, and today we will be talking about the starters of the Paldea region, which of course is featured in Scarlet and Violet. Perhaps you've heard of it. I think it's like kind of popular right now, but yeah, these Pokemon, these starter Pokemon are so huge, and we're going to get into why and what they mean for Pokemon's future. So the interesting thing about these Pokemon, the Paldean starters, specifically about the Fuecoco line and the Quaxly line, is that they actually aren't Paldean. Now, Sprigatito, I imagine it is, because it has a lot of traits from the Iberian links, which, of course, is found in, you guessed it, Iberia, which is, of course, where Paldea is set in. But Quaxly and Fuecoco, it's not this way. Now, Fuecoco is based off of a crocodile, and its evolution, having a little bird that is shown in some animations to like pick at its teeth and clean its teeth, kind of suggests that it's based off of an Egyptian plover bird, or plover, I don't know how you pronounce that, I'm so sorry, but which implies that Fuecoco's line, or Skeletor's specifically, is based off of a Nile crocodile. This also can be inferred with the fact that it's a fire ghost type, and there's some kind of Egyptian lore to its background as well. So this just all very much makes sense that this Pokemon would be from whatever the Egypt region is in the Pokemon world. Now, this is, of course, making even more sense when you factor in that there are plenty of Egyptian Pokemon in Paldea. I mean, there's Rabsca is, of course, based off of a scarab. You have, while not specifically Egyptian, you do have Farigiraf, which obviously has more African origins. There's not really any giraffes, at least not anymore, in the Iberian Peninsula. And there's other Pokemon as well. I could do a whole video on that. But yeah, Fuecoco, this line is clearly a Nile crocodile, and it's not from Paldea. Now, it's not stated that it isn't from Paldea, but I imagine it is, and this kind of means some big things for the future, but we'll get into that a little bit later in the video. Now, the other Pokemon is the Quaxly line. Now, the Quaxly line is straight up said to be from another region. It's said that they came from another region, which is really, really cool. It's said in Quaquaval's Dex entry that Quaquaval kind of does these dances from a faraway region, and what this is samba dancing, which comes from Brazil. So the Quaxly line is from a Pokemon version of Brazil, and the Fuecoco line is from a Pokemon version of Egypt. This is really, really cool because, to my knowledge, please correct me in the comments if I'm wrong on this, but with Quaxly especially, this is the first time we have gotten confirmation of a starter actually not being native to its region that it is a starter in. So that is super, super neat, in my opinion, and this is huge, and we're going to get into why. So, first off, this just kind of does confirm in the Pokemon universe, Brazil region and an Egypt region, which in itself is really cool, but it's not exactly new for Pokemon. We've had an India region confirmed with Caporaja's Dex entry, and we've even kind of had a China region confirmed with the Treasures of Ruins, and I'm sure there's been other examples of it. You know, the Pokemon world, it has been so expanded upon, and the franchise has been around for almost 27 years at the time of this video coming up, so, you know, it makes sense that they would kind of confirm many different regions before they actually are set to appear, right? But it still is just so nice. It's a nice little world-building thing to have confirmation that, hey, there is a Brazil region out there, and that's actually where Quaxly's from. And hey, there is a Egypt region out there, and that's actually where Fuecoco's from. I just think that's super neat because, you know, now when the day comes, whether it's Gen 10 or Gen 45, will we even be alive for that? Oh man, I don't want to think about that. But no matter what gen it is, when there is an Egyptian region or when there is a Brazilian region, we'll know this is where Fuecoco came from, or this is where Quaxly come from. And that is super cool in itself, and it may even mean that in the Egypt region, maybe we could find wild Fuecoco. And I know that's super crazy, but it's not too crazy because we've seen them kind of do wild starter Pokemon before, right? I mean, in Legends Arceus, you can find wild Chimchar, wild Piplup, and wild Turtwig. And of course, after you beat the game, you can also find wild Hisui starters via the wormhole time-space distortions that you can find across Hisui. Now then, in Let's Go, you can also find Bulbasaur, Squirtle, and Charmander across the Kanto region. And then you can find some wild starter Pokemon in the Friend Safari in the Kalos region, both Kanto starters and the Kalos starters. And you can find wild starters in Alola via the little Poke Radar, I think it was called. I don't even remember, but you know, you could do like a little island scan and be able to find Pokemon based off the day of the week it was, and some of those Pokemon were indeed starter Pokemon. So doing just straight up wild Pokemon, oh yeah, Charmander was also available via raids in Sword and Shield. So doing just wild starter Pokemon is something that I think we will see one day. And so I think it's really cool that when the Egypt region comes along, whenever that may be, we might just see wild Fuecocos. And who knows, they might even be like as common as, you know, say Sandiles. And the flip side of that is when we get a Brazil region, whenever that may be, we may see wild Quaxlys, and they may be as common as wild Psyduck. And that is such a crazy feeling. But this discovery of these Pokemon not being from Paldea means even more. It means that potentially Skeledirge and Quaquaval could not be the true evolutions of these Pokemon. You know, we know that Pokemon can evolve into different evolutions based off the environment. You know, Cubone, for example. Cubone will evolve into Cantonian Marowak, a pure ground type, depending on where it is. But if it's in the Alola region, it will evolve into the Ghostfire Alolan Marowak. We even see this with starter Pokemon. In Hisui, Duat, Dartrix, and Quilava evolve into Hisuian forms of Samurott, Decidueye, and Typhlosion, respectively. But everywhere else in the world, they evolve into the normal forms of them. You know, the Alolan Decidueye, Unovan Samurott, Jotonian Typhlosion. So maybe this Quaquaval is actually a Paldean Quaquaval, and this Skeledirge is a Paldean Skeledirge, and that one day we'll get an Egypt region, and then maybe one day a little bit later we'll get a Legends Egypt region. And in this game, Fuecoco will be one of the available starter Pokemon, and it'll evolve into a fire ground type that kind of, you know, swims around the sand, maybe even make it like where it's kind of a close relative of the Sandile line. I think that would be super cool. Then the flip side of that is Quaquaval. You could have it become a water flying Pokemon, and it be a Samba Dancer, but you know, a little bit different. It's not a fighting type anymore. It's a flying type. Perhaps maybe lean into the a more feminine side of it. You know, I think this would be so cool. I love the idea that Pokemon could be teasing that these Pokemon, since they're from another region, could in fact have another appearance in those regions, or at least at one point did have another appearance based off those regions. And again, I mean, this, ever since Legends Arceus, we need to start expecting the unexpected from Pokemon. So this really isn't that far-fetched, and that's not just a Pokemon pun. So yeah, let me know what you think of this in the comments below. Let me know what you think Quaquaval's home region form could look like, and what Skeledirge's home region form could look like, and what their typings would be. All that fun stuff in the comments below. Be sure to also like, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications so you don't miss all of our future Pokemon videos. Pokemon Legends is just such a fun topic to talk about in future Legends games, and I want to do more videos like that. And of course, Scarlet and Violet has given us a gold mine to dig into for things to talk about. You don't want to miss that. So again, like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Until next time, I will see all of you later.